Hi, I'm James Connor, and welcome to Inspired by Their Stories, the Pulte Family Charitable Foundation's monthly podcast. Welcome to the second episode of Inspired by Their Stories. Thanks for joining us. Some of you may be expecting to hear our conversation with Vicky Sokolik from starting right now. We've had to reschedule, and we will be airing that conversation in the near future. But today, I'm happy to share that we are joined by our special guest, Nicole Gize, the Vice President of Development and Communications at Detroit Cristo Rey High School in Detroit, Michigan. But before we jump into that conversation, I have just a few updates from the Pulte Family Charitable Foundation. Last episode, I teased our 2024 annual report, and I am pleased to share that the report is live. And we also published a timeline of the Foundation's milestones over the past 5 years. You can find a digital copy of both of these on the Foundation's website, pultefamilyfoundation.org, or use the links from our social media pages. It has been such a labor of love, and we are so excited not only to recap 2024, but also share what has been accomplished over the past 5 years. The other big news that we have here at the Foundation is the launch of the Catholic Initiative. The Catholic Initiative is an innovative Vatican-approved funding model to invest in the restoration and sustainability of Catholic churches, schools, and parishes that have struggled to reach their full potential due to a lack of financial resources. The Catholic Initiative does this by shifting the ownership of the church buildings and campuses to a nonprofit created for the sole purpose of maintaining these properties, allowing the religious leaders and the educators to focus on serving their parishioners, students, and communities. You can learn more about this effort by visiting thecatholicinitiative.org. We always have exciting things in the works here at the Foundation, and today what I am most excited about is our guest, Nicole Gize. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Nicole is the Vice President of Development and Communications at Detroit Cristo Rey High School in Detroit, Michigan, and we are so glad that she is with us today. Nicole, thanks for joining us.
Hi, James. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. It's really exciting to be a part of this opportunity today.
Yeah, I'm so glad that our paths have crossed so many times in the past couple months, actually, and we've had such great conversations and heard so many good stories coming out of Detroit Cristo Rey. So I thought it was a great opportunity to bring you on, especially as we reach the end of the school year and everyone's thinking about graduation.
Yep, definitely. And we're just trying to get ready for it and be prepared. So we're very excited about this class.
Well, that's great. So why don't you start by introducing yourself and explaining a little bit about what you do for the high school?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I do development and communications here. So I head up our fundraising efforts and I work with our enrollment team and our corporate work study program team to make sure that potential students have a chance to hear about what we're doing and that corporations really learn about the unique corporate work study program we have so that they can figure out how to become a part of it and help fill their talent pipeline. So, and then in the traditional world of fundraising, I work with our wonderful donors and friends who help support the school, make us who we are.
Yeah, so you're wearing a lot of different hats here.
Definitely. Yeah, I work with all different areas of our school, pretty much all of them actually, and are, all on a day-to-day, always talking to a teacher or a student so that I can get the stories that they have to share with us to share with the community also.
Yeah, no, I think some in our audience might not be familiar with the Cristo Rey model. Can you explain what a Cristo Rey school is?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, Cristo Rey School started back in the early 90s in Chicago in the Pilsen area by Father John Foley. And Father Foley's idea was how do we get these kids into a safe environment and give them an opportunity to succeed? And how are we going to pay for this? So, and he came up with the corporate work study program. So, there are 40 Cristo Rey schools across the United States. And here in Detroit, we opened in 2008. And our model of how we help pay for tuition is all of our students go to work 1 day a week at all Cristo Rey schools. And in Detroit, they are going to companies like General Motors, Corewell Health, Henry Ford Health, Visit Detroit's a partner. The St. John Resort is a partner. Detroit Athletic Club is a partner. Ideal Group is a partner. And what's happened is we have found that the companies that participate in these programs have also been able to fill their talent pipeline. And we're also just a high school, just like everybody else. We have sports, we have student council, we have National Honor Society. So on top of just going to high school, our students are also going to work and learning to work in the public workplace, where some schools, the students don't get to experience that till they've graduated college or they're in their college years.
So you brought up the corporate work study, which I think is a big part of the secret sauce. Uh, can you explain, if I'm a student at Detroit Cristo Rey, what is my week going to look like?
So I think there's two pieces to the secret sauce, but I'll share this with you. So on Mondays, our seniors go to work. Tuesdays, our juniors, so today's Tuesday, our juniors are all at work throughout the Southeast Michigan area. And again, they're driving everywhere. They're going up to Auburn Hills, to Romulus, to Milford, to Plymouth, to Macomb County area. And program works is that the companies will come to us and say, yes, we want to participate in this program. Some companies treat it like an internship, some treat it like an actual job, and they're coming in and this is their task for the day. And the companies pay Cristo Rey, and that includes all of the liabilities around there, all the transportation, so that, every kid comes to school every morning. We actually start our day at 7:30 in the morning with a prayer. And as I've shared in the past with you, and now with all of your listeners, that it's the only time all four of our grades are in the school at one time is morning prayer. And then as this morning, the juniors headed off to work, and we have a fleet of vehicles. So if you see a Cristo Rey car on the road, there's students in there on their way to work for the day. And then we go back and we pick them up and we bring them back. And some of our students even have part-time jobs after that, or they'll have extracurricular, they have homework to do too. So that's an average day for a student. And for the week, the rest of the week, they're in classrooms just like everybody else. So we have a hack 4 days of education, or 5 days of education, 4 days in the classroom.
So if I'm a incoming freshman, what sort of training or orientation do I get before I go out to the workplace? Or is that something that the employers take care of?
No, so I have to tell you, like, I think about back to my high school. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't start till August or the last week of August or right around Labor Day. Our incoming freshmen start the second week of August. They have 3 weeks of training here at the school, preparing them for what it would be like in the workforce. Think about a 13 or 14-year-old. They're our students are learning about how to send an email, how to greet somebody, how to make sure they're tying their tie and being interactive within the company that they're at, and learning how to even ask some of the questions that they may need to ask and not being afraid to ask the questions. So depending on the companies that work with us, they are learning the Microsoft Suite in advance too. Um, and just what it's like to be in the workforce. So they have 3 weeks of this intense training that helps them prepare them. And then we match them up based off of what their interests are and then what our companies are looking for. And some of the other fun jobs too, they're not looking at Excels, they're not looking at Word documents. The Detroit Zoo happens to be one of our partners. So they have a group of students that come and help them set up the area for the interactive field trips that students from other schools are coming to. So our students are helping get everything ready and interacting with the animals and the folks at the zoo. So that's just one of the companies that participates with us. And then, as I said, GM, some of them are actually sitting with the engineers at the table and learning about the vehicles and helping make decisions about the future vehicles you and I are driving. So
That's amazing. I can't imagine having that sort of opportunity being high school age. That's really, really cool.
I think back, I wish I had that opportunity. I didn't. And I, myself personally could have qualified to go to Cristo Rey. So that's what makes being here so exciting for me, is to see the opportunities that I wish I had. The other piece of this secret sauce here at Cristo Rey is our college counseling department. So an incoming freshman doesn't just have those 3 weeks of intense training to get them into the workforce. Part of their curriculum their first year is college readiness classes, so then we get them to even start thinking about, where do you want to go to college? What do you think you want to study in college? So then by senior year, when they're working with the college counselor, our students, at least here at the Detroit school, we ask them to apply to at least 10 universities. And since the first graduating class in 2012, we've had 100% acceptance into college. Now we're working on making sure we get them to all graduate, So we even have another piece of the secret sauce, which is our alumni success area. And so when I remember when I graduated high school, the first thing I got was like, hey, make a donation to your high school. Our seniors or their freshman year in college are getting visits from their school. We're going to the University of Notre Dame, to University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, to Grand Valley, to MSU, just to name the school that our alums are at, and we're checking on them. How are you doing? Are you staying on your path? What can you do to make sure that you succeed? And making sure that we're an 8-year program and not just a 4-year program.
That's amazing. I just think about the when I was there last month, and you told us the story about the young lady. I think her name was Kaylee, and all of the opportunities that presented themselves to her after. Obviously, she worked very hard for that.
So I have some great news to share about Kaylee. So Kaylee Razzo is going to be graduating this year. And she was actually featured on one of our local news stations last week. So I'll make sure to send you the link to see that, James. But Kaylee had choices. She had opportunities to either go to the University of Notre Dame, to Princeton. I mean, you name it. And as of last week, she was awarded a Gates Scholar. So she is now a Gates Scholar, which means everything's covered for her. And she'll be attending Harvard.
Wow.
She's our first alum except going to Harvard. So we're very, very excited. And to think about the fact that she had choices, the amount of choices that she had. And not all of our students are there, but all of them still have choices. And last week we just celebrated a National College Decision Day, our senior breakfast, where they got to announce where they were going. And we have a lot going into healthcare, which was really exciting to hear, of course, into engineering, physical therapy. They're all looking at everything. Kaylee, I know I'm going to tell you, is going to end up being an attorney eventually, is her goal, and she definitely has a passion for it. And her senior year, her corporate work study job was at a law firm, so she really got to experience so many things to help her make the decision that she needed to make on where she wanted to go to college.
Yeah, what a great story. And I think it just illustrates the impact of having somebody invest in you in your education and giving you opportunities, and just the importance of access to a quality education and access to opportunity. Uh, are there any other student stories that have really resonated with you over the past few years?
Well, the one lady that the student I was telling you about how they're sitting at the table with the engineers is Tanya. She'll be going to Georgia Tech. That's our first one. I'm going there too. And she really is, works in the Milford Proving Grounds, which is very hard to get into. You really have to get through security to get there. And she, as I said, is sitting at the table with the engineers. And there's a couple of other students. This other one is a senior. His name is Ryan. And Ryan is going to be a film major at Wayne State. And if you go to our YouTube channel and watch our mission moments, those were produced by Ryan, which is pretty cool. And then I myself, in our development department here, we have a student who works for us. Her days is Wednesdays as a sophomore. And I have to tell you, Andrea, I watched her grow into just flourishing. She's coming out, like, it's so fun to see and to be a supervisor myself and to see how the program affects a student and the growth that they can have just from being able to spend the time maybe with an adult that's not their parent, and talking to them and treating them like an adult and helping them think about what do they want the future to look like.
Now, we talked a little bit about what I think we've been calling the secret sauce, but I mean, if you really had to enumerate, how is the student experience different at Detroit Cristo Rey High School versus where they might otherwise go at their local public school?
Uh, Definitely one-on-one with the teachers. We do have smaller class sizes, and our teachers are the second piece of it. And I'm not saying that other teachers at other schools are not as dedicated to their students, but there's this true level of family being dedicated because they're choosing to send their child here. The students who are figuring out, like, this is my choice. I get to do this. How do I make this work? And then to have that teacher that helps bridge all of it together, that's what makes, I think, it so special. And there is a feeling of family here. Anything, I think actually, if you look at any of our videos of anything I've ever had to do, it's a feeling of family here is the one word. There is a community here. And that's the number one word that comes out, family and community.
I shared with you earlier that I was having a conversation with some of my colleagues that are humanitarian hotels. I know that we have a few students working at the St. John's Resort over in Plymouth, Michigan. Um, can you maybe talk a little bit about Detroit Cristo Rey High School's relationship with the St. John's Resort has been like over the past few years from your end, from the school's end?
And so for me, it's just exciting to be even to say that they're there. And I remember walking in for something one day and seeing a student in their uniform, and it's just like it's they're just in a totally different setting. So you can there's confidence when they're walking through the business of where they're at. And my experience was seeing them walk through the halls of the St. John Resort with confidence and being able to talk to guests and making sure that they are going in the right direction. How can I help you? And sometimes teenagers don't do that. They are afraid to talk to other people. And our students definitely, I hope, are making a difference for the guests at the St. John Resort.
Well, I know that our team is so grateful for the work that they do and the opportunity to get to work alongside them. We're so pleased with that partnership. Now, the last thing, I've been able to visit Detroit Cristo Rey a few times, and I've seen Southwest Detroit change so much even in the last 5 years. And there's so many exciting things. I mean, I think about Ford's investment in the train station just down the road from you all. What's on the horizon for Detroit Cristo Rey? What's next for the high school?
So, we're working on building our relationship with the folks over at Michigan Central. We've had opportunities to attend some events at New Lab and be part of discussions within the community. One was recent. We were invited where Google and Michigan Central did something regarding AI and how it integrates into the work world. And, I was able to help represent the school there and talk about how we thought about that. So we're working on building relationships. The one exciting thing that we have, and I think you have the chance to meet him, is our board chair, Joaquin Nuno Whelan, was just named the president of Lincoln. So we've joked with him that hopefully he will help bridge some more relationships. And who knows, maybe our next gala could be at Michigan Central. We're not really sure, but that could be on the fundraising side. That's the one thing I maybe always think about. But more than anything, just being able to remind them that we're here, we're their neighbor, we're here to help them and help integrate them into the community. And we've got some exciting things coming out of our classrooms. So um, we hope that we have a strong relationship with Michigan Central and all of the folks at New Lab too, because there's so much technology and startups and opportunities that are happening over there.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Nicole. Why don't we leave it with this? If folks are interested in hearing more inspiring student stories or keeping up to date with what's going on at Detroit Cristo Rey High School, how would they do that? Where should we send them?
So we can go to our website, which is detroitcristoray.org. They're welcome to email me, which NG's at detroitcristoray.org also. We do send out some newsletters and follow us on LinkedIn and on Facebook and Instagram. There is lots of stuff happening on there. There's actually so much that I feel like we could be sharing twice a day about the great things that are happening here. So we definitely do have a robust storytelling happening over on social media. So if anyone really wants to get a good feel of what's happening here, please follow us on those platforms.
Well, it has been so great to talk with you today. I love hearing the stories that you share about the students and what exciting things they get to do through their studies and through their work experience, but also where they're going next. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. It's the school we're talking about, and it's the students and the teachers that make it what it is. And it's so exciting to be able to share their stories.
Speaking of students, we are now fortunate to be joined by two Detroit Cristo Rey students, Alexa and Esther. Why don't we start with having you each introduce yourselves so folks know who you are?
My name is Alexa. I'm a junior. I work at Pace Southeast Michigan for the corporate work study program with the school, and I've been working there since freshman year.
My name is Esther Lagos. I'm also a junior in high school in Detroit, Cristo Rey. I work at Sienna Healthcare. I've worked there since the beginning of this junior year.
Very nice. What is your favorite part about going to Detroit Cristo Rey? Alexa, why don't we start with you?
My favorite part about coming to school is honestly the teachers and the environment. One thing that I really fall in love with the school is just how strong everyone's faith is. Like seeing it in the students and the teachers really encourage my faith to grow and my ability to want to learn more. And I also love to ask questions now from before being so shy to even raise my hand.
I think it's also the teachers because, our relationships build with the teachers, with trusting them. For my education wise, my favorite subject per se is probably physics with science because it helps a lot with, what I want to do when I go to college. When in the medical field, you need physics. I feel like you're in school, the teachers, they make it fun to learn, like they don't just, it's not boring and you're not just sitting there listening. They make you move and they make you active. And
You both mentioned the teachers and the staff at the school. Are there any particular staff members, any particular teachers that have really made a difference in your education that you want to give a shout out to?
I would say two of my teachers, one that I had back in freshman year, but I still hold that communication with him, and it's Mr. Divine. He's the language arts teacher, and he got me more intrigued in writing. I forgot how much I used to love writing in my diary when I was little. So just learning how to write and different styles of writing really brought back that memory. And another teacher is Mr. Gabby. Mr. Gabby last year was my teacher for sophomore year. And I remember first coming to the church history, my faith wasn't really as strong. Like I didn't really know much. So I started asking questions in theology class and it grew my faith so much. And thanks to him, he gave me different Bibles to look at, how to really read and deep into the scripture. So that really helped me and that changed my life a lot.
for me, my favorite teacher would be my physics teacher, Mr. Paul. He he's just very energetic and he kind of wakes you up and just makes you move around and he's funny. He reminds me of SpongeBob. And then my second favorite teacher was my art teacher last semester, Miss Dietz. Her name's Jessica Dietz, but I call her Miss Jessica. I just feel more like a personal connection with her because like she just makes you feel so welcomed in her classroom. It's very colorful and just like warm and loving and yeah.
Alexa, you were talking a little bit about how the theology class really helped you to grow in your faith. Can you share why that's so important to you now?
It's so important to me now because I feel like before I used to go to a normal church school and moving to Detroit Cristo Rey, I was like, what is the biggest difference? Like, I don't know what it is because I'm still doing homework. I'm still having to do classwork, but I realized that it's just the fact that the school has God in the center of it. And you see that in the students and the teachers, as well as Esther. I remember I'm like, oh, like she also made me grow in my faith. Just seeing someone else young and striving their faith, and it just became important to me because I knew that that's something that now I want to carry with me. And I also invited my family to start going to church again with me. And so the school became part of me and the whole family.
You are both juniors, and graduation isn't too far away. So, what are your plans right now for the future?
So I want to be a CRNA, which is a certified registered nurse anesthetist. This is long words and stuff. Anesthesiologist assistant in a way, like it's a nurse, but like a higher level. I have to know physics and pharmacology and all of these big science things. That's why I said physics is my favorite because I need to know physics. I plan on going to college. I think I want to go to Henry Ford to get my nursing associate's degree and then transfer to U of M to obviously get my anesthesiologist degree. Because that one is a little bit on the longer side. I have to be in school for I think almost 8, 9 years. But I think the experience for me working in the nursing home kind of how you say, with the encouragement to do it, because I didn't want to work with medicine and having to study, because I know medicine is like one of the hardest things to study in school, like it's more energy taking, like it takes your time and stuff. But I just see that like I want to be able to help people the way I help in the nursing home, like how I don't want to work at a nursing home. I want to be a trauma CRNA, which is that works in an ER, because it's more like I find it more not exciting, but to be more in action, like moving and never sitting down. And I don't know, but for that, that's my plans for the future. Hopefully to God that happens.
Yeah. Alexa, what about you? What's your plans? What's coming up on your radar?
For me, it's a little bit all over the place. And I just love that the school also understands that because we have a college counseling center as well. So being able to be my my boat is open. Like I don't know where I want to go, but I'm ready. Like it doesn't matter. So like just narrowing it down to be like what still comes to the back of my head is really just being a social worker for the elderly. It's just something that my heart is really into. And I'm very passionate about workers doing stuff with their heart because there have been times where I go to the doctors or the dentist and I'm just like, do you even want to do this? Like, I feel like you don't want to be here. So I just think that no matter where else I try to look to, my head always just turns back to doing that. And so because of the corporate work study program and where I'm placed at, there's different departments at my building and there's an actual social worker department in my building. So I sometimes like during my break, I'll go knock on the lady's door and I'll be like, hey, like, I just kind of go in there and she always welcomes me in to be like, this is what I did and this is what I wish I would have known. So like even having in school and out of school support through the school is just like something that again I will never be able to be like just a thank you. Like that's why I think it also encourages to really do good and just be proud of the school we came from. Students that already graduated and some of them even have high roles at their old corporate work study job and like they're already graduated and if they can do it, like it's definitely the strive and the support that this school gives you, it's possible.
You just teed me up perfectly for my last question. So what I want to hear from you is how has Detroit Cristo Rey changed your life? How is your life different because you're at that school? Alexa, why don't we start with you?
This school really did change my life so much. Mostly, I have an older sister who didn't have this opportunity. Far from gone, she struggled to even sign up for FAFSA. My mom didn't finish high school, so just seeing them both struggle so much and even lose motivation to continue going on, it just wanted me to continue reaching out to Cristo Rey again and be like, so what do I do when I get here? And just like being 10 steps ahead because I saw through my first point of view, my own family struggle. And even still now, wish that they had this opportunity. So even in that way, it changed my life just to be in the boat that I'm in. And it makes me happy to hear that like my little brother will get to experience this because again, my older sister missed out. When my brother came in for the first time with me, he was like, why are the teachers greeting you? Why did they tell you good morning? And I'm like, this is the school. Like we're here all together 8 hours. So, we're all here together. It's the family now.
Yeah. Esther, what about you?
I think the way the Detroit Cristo Rey changed my life was, I think it brought a lot of opportunities, a lot of relationships for me. I think because my 8th grade, all my middle school, I was kind of like, I want to say a loner, but I was. I didn't have friends, and in the school, they didn't really care about you. So you were just kind of off to your own thing. And that I came to Cristo Rey, and everyone was just so, and especially because my siblings came here, they were even more welcoming to me. Another Lagos, another come here, right? And I felt loved by teachers, like I never felt like teachers cared about you. I never felt like they even cared about your future. But in this school, I feel like They want to see you succeed. They love when my older siblings come back to pick us up. They love seeing them. Also, the school brought opportunities for friends. I mean, I'm not a loner. I have one friend. But one friend is better than a million friends. My mom likes to say. It brought the opportunity for me to meet my friend, to build a connection, especially in our faith. The school. I think another thing would be that the school kind of helped to build my faith more stronger, because I was very kind of like any kid, like, oh my God, I don't want to go to church. I don't want to go to this. And I feel like the school made me more like mature in my faith. It made me mature to think like, I need this. I need God in my life. I need school, like I need to be an educated woman. And the school just, yeah, that's how it ran.
Well, thank you both so much for sharing about your experiences. I'm so glad I got to talk to you all today. I learned actually a whole lot because I visited the school now twice, and my experience walking through the halls is different than being able to interact with you and ask you questions. So, Nicole, Alexa, and Esther, thank you so much for being with us today. I have enjoyed our conversation and learning more about what's going on at Detroit Cristo Rey. And we have a lot more stories to share. I hope you will join us for our next episode, where we will be talking to Kurt Bowen, the co-founder and executive director of Semilla Nueva. Kurt will share with us the innovative ways that Semilla Nueva is working to combat malnutrition in Guatemala. That's a wrap on this episode of Inspired by Their Stories from the Pulte Family Charitable Foundation. If you're feeling inspired, please share this episode with a friend. Until next time, be good to each other and inspire others to do the same.